Hey guys, Dave Lefebre here, and I wanted to show you the rock lizard.
You got him? Yeah. Oh, wow.
It came on.
So the main goal was to be able to go out here in the front yard when the walleyes go deep and be able to cast for them. Not real crazy about trolling. You know, walleyes, they feel like a wet sock when you're dragging them in behind a boat when you're trolling, but...
This is a nice fish.
Yeah, look at that one. Look at that one.
Nice.
Oh my gosh.
But when you catch them and feel that bite and fight them in, it's really amazing how hard they pull and what a cool sport fish they are. So,
Who says walleyes don't fight? Jeez. Yeah, buddy.
first thing I did was go to all the local tackle shops, look online, and try to find some type of a crawler harness that I thought was perfect. We're catching a lot of walleyes, so I wanted something that was durable, that could stand up to catching a bunch of them. And then everything else was just nitpicking. You know, I wanted good quality hooks. I wanted the blade to spin at super low speeds. We fish the rip and wrap for walleyes on inland lakes, so I wanted something that made some noise because I feel like noise really triggers walleyes. So here's what we came up with. You know, I started out making some phone calls to friends of mine that are pro walleye fishermen, and I'm like, which harness should I buy? And none of those guys buy their own. They're all making them. So once I heard that, I started getting some of the parts in just to make some samples and try to play around with it. And it was actually quite a lot of fun trying to put all these components together to make the perfect bait that fit my needs anyway. So I'm gonna try to go over all of the features. First, the leader. It's 20-pound test fluorocarbon. It's the best, most abrasion resistance fluorocarbon, so that was an expensive piece of the overall bait. Because we're using a long leader, we're using a 4-foot leader. That's so that you can cut it down if you want to. Very abrasion resistant. You want that because you are touching the bottom at times and you want to be able to have this thing last a while and not break off on the zebra mussels and the sharp rocks and stuff that we're fishing. So that's first of all. At the top, it's a black barrel swivel, very good quality VMC. At the very top of the bait, we have a small bead that is fixed. So we wrap that line around one time. And these are all 6 millimeters. This is an 8. I don't even know. This bead serves 2 purposes. When you cast, it keeps the bait from sliding up your line, and it adds to your cast distance, so it keeps it all tight and nice together. The other reason is it makes the bait rattle, so it makes a lot of noise underwater. To add to that noise, I wanted to use glass rattles. We do this in bass fishing with Carolina rigs and some other things to make noise, but glass makes a lot more noise than plastic. So the 2 center beads on the rock lizard are always going to be glass, and that makes a lot of commotion underwater. The clevis, you know, that's what attaches the blade to the bait, and we wanted something where you could take the blade off. So if you wanted to mix the rock lizard, if you wanted to put a purple blade on a green bait or a white blade or copper or your own blade that's not painted, whatever you want to do, you can take that right off of that clevis right there. We checked everything on the market, and this is by far the best one. That's a real important piece of the puzzle there. The blade, very special. These are painted by Paul at Someday I'll Tackle. The whole bait is put together by them. But these blades are very durable. They're not gonna chip on you. They're painted and coated, made in all the colors that we feel are the best ones for the walleye out here on Lake Erie. Shades Blaze, Nuclear Newt, Grape Gila, Pink Skink, and Copper Komodo. Another thing you'll notice is this is an Indiana blade. I wanted the cross between a Colorado and a willow leaf because a lot of times you don't know which is better. I mean, guys are using both, and I figured if I'm gonna have one bait, I want it to be a cross between the 2. So it's a Colorado, it's like a long Colorado blade.
Look at that. looks really bad.
It gives you that real slow speed, plus it gives you enough of that thump that you need. I think it's perfect. That's an Indiana blade. Then we get right to the hooks. This is a wacky hook. It's a bass hook, but it's a very, very high quality and very sharp and strong hook. You're not gonna bend that hook out. You know, we've caught a lot of big walleyes on that. And then we got the trailer hook. That is snelled right to the main hook. And just like the main hook, it is a top of the line, as good as you can get, treble hook. You can see the points are bent in like that. That's to keep those fish buttoned up. You can catch them without the trailer hook, but it really makes a difference. I mean, a lot of the fish that we've been catching are just barely hooked on that back hook, so I think it's pretty important to have that. You can always take it off if you want to. The length of it had to be just right, so we had those guys make it right at 3 inches. They're between 3 and 3.5, but you can't go longer than 3.5 because you want this to be able to fit in the Senko. And that's the 4-inch. This is just a green pumpkin color. They all work. We caught them on so many different colors, but there's all different kinds of ways you can go. And I think this is the most exciting part about it, that you don't have to, you know, use the night crawlers and make a mess. You just put that Senko on there. It lasts for several fish, so you're not going through a ton of baits. One package of these is going to last you forever. There's a smoke color that we did really good on. I'm not going to say color doesn't matter. If you're going to get one color, it should be, you know, some type of natural brownish type. We call them green pumpkin or watermelon. And we're using the 4-inch. That's the rock lizard, made in the US of A by my good friends at Someday I'll Tackle. And I think that about covers everything. So real quick, you know, this is all about casting. I'm using a bait casting rod and reel most of the time, but you can use a spinning rod. It does not really matter. The beauty of it is you can use anything, any rod and reel that you have, as long as it's not ultralight. A good medium heavy, medium action spinning rod will work. One of the things is we're using 7.5 foot rods. You want a longer rod if you can. You don't need it, but it makes it easier to cast. It makes it so you can cast further. It makes it easier to drive the hooks home when you do get the bite. So longer rods, around 7.5. This is a 7.5 medium heavy, perfect rod for it. And I'm using a 7.6 medium heavy on the bait caster just to get out there further. The main line is braid. It's just a lot easier to cast. It's a lot thinner, so it sinks faster. And we're using nano braid 10-pound test, or you can use Suffix 832. Anything in about that 10-pound test. You don't want to go up over 10-pound test on your braid. And then you can tie that braid directly to your swivel, which goes to that 20-pound advanced fluorocarbon leader, and you're good to go. On my bait caster, I'm using an 8-to-1 so that I can crank up a lot of line, get those fish in. A lot of times they're swimming right towards you. You just want to be able to get that hook into them from far away. You're way down deep, and you know, everything matters. Once you get it out of the package, you can always roll it right back up and stick it back up in that reusable package. And lastly, the weight. The weight is pretty important. You can get by with lead. These are some lead weights. This shape I'm heavily leaning toward. So that's a lead one, and this is a tungsten one. And these are 1 ounce. 1 ounce is the key. You're fishing out there in that, geez, anywhere from 50 to 80 feet to 100 feet even of water. You can get by with lead. You know, it's gonna be the same amount of weight, but the bigger you go, the more resistance you're gonna have in the water. So it's kind of like night and day. If you can see the difference in size, these are both 3/4 ounce weights, but you can see how much way smaller this one is. Believe me, it makes a big difference. You know, you might get sticker shock when you see the price on these, but you're not losing them. So make the investment, get tungsten, and you'll be real happy. It makes a huge difference. And then just getting out there and fishing. You know, you're gonna get out there. You can't just fish blind. You need to know where there's some walleyes at. But once you find them, that's when the fun part kicks in. You know you're around them. You know that they're gonna bite this, and you just got to figure out how to get your bait to that depth. So, you know, we're counting down. A lot of times there's 2 or 3 or 4 guys in the boat, and everybody's experimenting. You fire that thing out there as far as you can and count it down, 20 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, but just experiment. You can even let it hit the bottom and just reel it back to the boat. But nothing fancy. Every once in a while I'm giving it a twitch just to get those glass beads to rattle, but other than that, that's all there is to it. all these colors will work. It seems like different ones shine brighter on different days. I don't know why.
I got a tank. Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Nice.
That is the Rock Lizard, made by Someday I'll Tackle in Erie, Pennsylvania. Try them out. Give us a review, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna love these things. It's walleye candy. At Erie Extreme, we strongly believe in supporting local businesses, especially in these tough times. So our Rock Lizards are available only at East End Angler. Get you some.